Today on Week in Review, Prince Rupert got some new bids to help with addiction recovery. We have a look at the construction of the Gitxsan West High School, and Terrace has some future road pavement plans. Hello, I'm Cael Maslin, and thank you for joining us here on Week in Review, where we cover all of the news here in the Northwest from this past week. The city of Prince Rupert was hit with hefty fines from the BC Ministry of Environment and Climate Change due to apparent cases of non-compliance at several waste disposal sites. The Wantage Road landfill, sewer outfalls, and Ridley Island landfill were all fined for not meeting the standards that were set in the provincial permits required to operate a landfill in BC. As a result, Prince Rupert has been ordered to pay a total of $165,460 in fines. The city states that they have been aware of potential penalties due to a combination of issues related to infrastructure and climatic conditions, and say they have been actively engaging with the ministry on options to address these issues. They also stated that they will be working with the ministry to try and reduce penalties and work towards compliance. It was announced earlier this week by the BC government that as many as 250 people with drug addiction challenges will have more options to improve their recovery, with more substance use treatment beds now open in their communities. According to the Ministry of Health, 26 new recovery beds are now available to improve access to addictions treatments for underserved populations in order to make it easier to get treatment without affecting their travel and cost. For local support here in Northwest BC, the 333 Recovery Program in Prince Rupert will gain 2 extra beds to offer recovery support for men, including Indigenous cultural-focused programs. The other areas getting extra access are Vancouver's downtown east side, Island Crisis Care in Nanaimo, and Care Support Society in Kelowna. Northern Savings Credit Union and the City of Prince Rupert have partnered up to help recreation in the local area. And as noted in an article on the city's website, Northern Savings started off the partnership by pledging to donate $5,000 over the next 3 years to a week of free programs during Family Literacy Week at the local rec center. The week took place between January 20th to 26th this year and allowed for free access to the recreation programming in the auditorium and gymnasium. A recent report from the Prince Rupert Port Authority revealed that a total of 23.1 million tons of cargo made its way through the Prince Rupert Port in 2024, although that number was actually a decrease from 2023, albeit a very slight one of only 1%. The report also said that performance was impacted by several factors like a pair of labor disruptions, carriers' trans-Pacific trade routes being realigned, and a rail service suspension that occurred due to a wildfire. Although the construction of the Gitxsan West High School is slightly behind schedule, the design promises to be worth the wait. Here's Cael Maslin with a sneak peek of the project.
You're going to feel a sense of belonging when you walk through the front doors and you see the gathering circle and you see the language and you hear the language. And our foods are more prevalent. The conversations are centered around our culture.
As the new Gitxsan West Secondary School nears completion, the culture-centric design is evident.
We wanted students to have gathering spaces. We wanted them to feel their identity in every room that they went to. We wanted them to know that they're on their territories, so using cedar and incorporating that. The architects have beautifully weaved culture into the full design of the building.
In the works this week was an art piece for the entry gathering circle, designed by Arlene Ness.
All of the whelps I have around them, all the clans that are represented here, which is the wolf, frog, eagle, and the Giskas fireweed clans. So that encompasses the whole design. And in the center, you'll see the 3 communities coming together like a vortex. And I use that imagery because vortexes create a lot of energy and are very impactful to the environment, such as tornadoes and whirlpools and whatnot. So I imagine the energies of 3 communities coming together and creating this space and housing this environment for the children, our future generations.
This is very important for our kids who attend here. And I think they're going to love it. They are going to love it. They will probably, some of the students probably skip grade just to stay here.
School is slated to start in September. For CFTK-TV News in Gitwangak, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
Up next, the Terrace RCMP came across another unexpected drug bust. Welcome back. While some Terrace police officers were investigating a municipal bylaw infraction, the RCMP managed to come across a large amount of both controlled drug substances as well as drug trafficking equipment. This unexpected drug bust saw the Terrace RCMP seize items such as 43 grams of fentanyl, 22 grams of cocaine, 49 grams of methamphetamine, pills that are suspected to be oxycodone, in addition to cash and some things that are consistent with items used for drug trafficking. This discovery comes a little under 2 weeks after the Terrace RCMP busted a different suspected drug trafficker for carrying several illegal drugs, weapons, cash, and other unidentified pharmaceuticals. As for the present case, the investigation happens to still be ongoing, and no charges have been laid. During the most recent council meeting, Terrace City Council heard from the city's Engineering and Public Works Department on their ongoing activities via their biannual report. One of the most notable developments saw the department reveal their plan to repave both Cael Street as well as Emerson Street. This project was intended to get done in the fall of last year, but a massive amount of rain that hit the area in both September and October forced the project to be delayed, although Gregg Avenue's repavement was able to be finished. And with the delay occurring, the department is redirecting the entirety of their 2024 pavement overlay budget towards this particular bit of work. $150,000 has already been spent on the repaving. This past Friday, the Skeena Mall in Terrace took an hour and a half out of their day in order to celebrate a particular holiday. The holiday is known as Family Literacy Day, and the mall celebration lasted between 1 p.m. until 2:30 p.m. on January 24th at the former site of the Just Cozy store that is located across from Winners. The reason for the holiday's existence is so that families can engage in literacy activities together so that the importance of reading can be emphasized to everyone. The event was also home to games, arts, and crafts, as well as some of the event's sponsors were said to include the Terrace Public Library, the Heritage Park Museum, Northern Health, Misty River Books, and Coast Mountain College. In the business development section of their website, the City of Terrace is looking to have various buildings that they own, like the Library, Aquatic Center, and RCMP building being assessed. And to determine who gets to do the assessments on how to fix issues that these buildings may have, the city has a proposal form on their website where interested parties can offer up their services and disclose how much said services will cost. February 13th at 2 p.m. is the cutoff date and time for the proposals to be sent in, and March 3rd is the day that a contract will be handed out. The City of Terrace's Procurement Opportunities subsection inside Business and Development is where more information can be found. After the break, Taylor Backrack had some thoughts on the new U.S. president. Welcome back. After being in operation since 1952, the Bank of Montreal's branch located in Kitimat will now only be active for a few more months. On July 25th, the bank location will be closing down permanently despite there not being many publicly provided reasons from BMO as to why this closure is happening. Members of the Bank of Montreal living in Kitimat will likely have some crucial decisions to make in the near future, as the next closest branch is located in Terrace, which is about a 40-minute drive away. Although BMO customers will still have the ability to access the bank's services through local ATMs. More news in Kitimat. While it has taken a bit to figure out, longer than it initially expected, the District of Kitimat has figured out when they will begin the, quote, tender process involving the local ice rink getting repaired. It has been decided that the process will begin sometime during the end of this month, and once it is awarded, the district will then have an idea of when the repairs might actually get finished. The process in question appears to be the district's way of figuring out who should be the party that ends up doing the repairs, and the district also thanked local community groups and other users for adapting to the Kitimat ice rink's issues of which that mainly stemmed from a fire that started via a heater in the referee room last year. Moving to another story from Jaylene Matthews, Shames Mountain has recently gotten substantially better weather conditions for those who use the hill frequently.
Skiers and boarders got to enjoy bluebird skies and fun vibes at Shames Mountain this past weekend as conditions have improved and many races were underway. The latest snow report states 140 centimeters of snow at the bottom of the T-bar, adding on 25 centimeters in the past week, with upper mountain conditions listed as excellent. Swiss outdoor brand Mammoth paid a visit to Shames last year and have now released a new film on the co-op.
Originally, the building we are in was at a ski hill called CFTK-TV.
Heart of the Mountain, how a small community saved their mountain and changed skiing forever, already has over 13,000 views since its release on Friday.
The Shames Mountain Corporation bought the old lifts from the CFTK-TV ski hill.
They literally trailered the lodge here, brought all the lifts here.
Raising the more than $2 million to build the facility has been a major task.
The 9-minute short film tells the story of Shames Mountain from its inception and can be found on the Mammoth YouTube page. For CFTK-TV News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
As noted in a release that was posted to their website, the town of Smithers is planning on getting rid of some lands that are located at the local airport. They plan on doing this by signing a 5-year lease that will last until December 31st, 2029, and the company that will take control of the land is Air Canada. The increasing year-over-year monthly rent that Canada will have to pay was disclosed as well, with them having to pay $2,891.97 a month in year 1, $2,941.81 in year 2, $2,993.45 in year 3, $3,046.42 in year 4, and $3,100.97 in year 5. Skeena Bulkley Valley MP Taylor Bachrach released a public statement that gave his candid reaction to the inauguration of new U.S. President Donald Trump. Bachrach stated that we live in frightening times and expressed further disappointment that the citizens of America elected a convicted felon to lead their country. He then went on to emphasize how important he believes unity to be, saying that Canadians need to come together in order to defend our country's interests and protect what makes Canada great. He also had words for Conservative Party members throughout Canada, such as Alberta's Premier Danielle Smith, saying that their vision for Canada is not that far off from Donald Trump's vision for the U.S., and capped off his statement by saying that facts should frighten everyone. Yet another report has emerged on the Kitimat RCMP's website discussing their most recent cases as we head towards the final week of the New Year's first month. One case in the report saw officers get called out to a business on the 200 block of City Center due to a report of something being destroyed. The call resulted from a customer at a business getting a replacement part for an item of theirs that would not work, and them later returning angry that the replacement part did not work either. The customer destroyed the replacement part and ended up storming off with no other damages being reported. Still to come, human trafficking continues to be a problem in BC. Welcome back. Human trafficking has been a growing concern in BC as more resources are now being put into a fight up against those who are guilty. Here's CTV's Michelle Bernoro with more.
The province tells CTV News in this email that the BC RCMP has approved the creation of a 12-member counter-human trafficking unit. The RCMP's E-Division has been unwilling to talk to us about it, but word of a new unit comes amid criticism that police and politicians have a poor track record when it comes to tackling a growing problem.
We all really need to demand more of law enforcement, and we need to demand more of our provincial government in terms of addressing this issue.
The issue she's talking about is human trafficking, and this lawyer says to date neither government nor police have been doing enough to stop it.
It's our experience and observation that the police are not taking those reports seriously. It's our experience and observation that the police don't have the resources, the will, or the capacity to investigate these cases.
Brown wants BC to follow the lead of Ontario, where an intelligence-led joint forces strategy was created to fight the trade in humans.
It's allowed 20 policing organizations to collaborate on human trafficking investigations. That increases information sharing, collaboration between jurisdictions, and collaboration on different types of multi-jurisdictional human trafficking investigations.
Ontario has by far the most trafficking cases reported to police within Canada, but that province is fighting back and is seeing results.
In 2024, we've laid 264 criminal code charges, 214 specifically being related to human trafficking charges, and then another 50 ancillary charges.
And unlike BC, when cases go to court in Ontario, dedicated human trafficking prosecutors handle each one.
We get the same sort of arguments by defense counsel over and over again. And if you didn't specialize in this area, you may not be familiar with those types of legal issues and arguments that come up. You might be caught off guard.
Ontario also has provincial restraining orders specific to human trafficking that don't require a report to go to police first.
It's not a criminal code restraining order. It's an order of the court that prevents a trafficker from communicating with a person who's either being trafficked or at risk of being trafficked. These applications can be made by the person who's being trafficked themselves, or if it's in relation to a child that's under the 18 who's being trafficked or at risk of being trafficked, it could be made by a parent.
BC's public safety minister did not make himself available for an interview with CTV News, but said in a statement, the rise in human trafficking is a significant issue that happens in our province and at our borders. We are actively coordinating with all levels of government and our southern neighbors to combat this illegal activity. Both Vancouver Police and BCRCMP's special units that deal with human trafficking also would not speak to us about a problem that advocates are fighting to shine a light on, a problem that's hidden in plain sight. Michelle Bernoro, CTV News, Vancouver.
A group has been creating pop-up overdose prevention sites on BC hospital grounds, and CTV's Andy Garland has more information about that.
We go around in groups.
Recovering from their own addiction issues, Caleb Ross and Heather Edwards are in support of new overdose prevention sites on hospital grounds. Places like this, they say, will save lives.
We were terrified to go to the hospital without enough medication because we'll start getting so violently ill after a couple of hours.
People are refusing the care that they need because they'll potentially withdraw within 4 to 5 hours.
Addictions doctors say users still need access to their illegal drugs while in hospital due to severe withdrawal symptoms.
It's like the worst flu imaginable. It's horrendous. And so the only way you get relief to even feel normal is to smoke your substance.
The group, Doctors for Safer Drug Policy, set up an unsanctioned pop-up today, this time at the Comox Valley Hospital. It's the third hospital they have set up a pop-up OPS on the island since mid-November, Royal Jubilee in Nanaimo Regional General being the first.
We need an action from the government to roll these out because people are dying within the hospital grounds. Patients who use substances cannot use their substance in hospitals.
The group of island doctors say they met with new Health Minister Josie Osborne last week and provided her with evidence-based information supporting their plea for OPSs at hospitals.
Was overall supportive of the work that we're doing and recognize that we need to continue to work together to quell the moral panic that has been created around this issue.
The pop-up OPS will be set up at Comox Valley Hospital till Friday from 10 to 6 with physicians on hand. More OPSs may be popping up at other island hospitals in the near future. Andy Garland, CTV News, the Comox Valley.
A new method of HPV screening is under fire for not being properly resourced. CTV's Penny Daflos has more.
A year ago, government and medical brass announced BC would be switching to a simple swab test at home to screen for cervical cancer by testing for a common sexually transmitted virus.
HPV-based screening is more effective at identifying those with precancerous lesions.
The public education campaign touted how easy it is to do at home and that
it's important you attend any follow-up appointments recommended for you.
But now CTV News has learned women who test positive for high-risk human papillomavirus are waiting up to 9 months for a follow-up exam and testing instead of the typical 8 weeks.
Is that acceptable to you?
I mean, I really appreciate the anxiety that comes with waiting for any diagnostic test. Any wait is too long. What we do at BC Cancer is we give a target.
The BC Cancer Agency insists it warned the health authorities that there'd be a surge in demand for colposcopies with the new test compared to traditional pap smears.
HPV testing, it's a more accurate test than cytology, which means that it's more sensitive and we're going to pick up more cases. We're going to pick them up earlier and better than we were doing before.
Colposcopy is a way for doctors to use a special microscope called a colposcope to examine your cervix.
Some patients are so anxious they're going to Bellingham to get the exam and possible biopsy done on time. One patient told CTV News it'll cost her $1,100, calling it unacceptable that the new program wasn't properly resourced.
It's unfortunate, but it's hopefully just a short-term blip in the overall timeline.
The BC Cancer Agency acknowledges that could mean 4 or 5 years worth of delays for patients, unsure if they'll find peace of mind or early management for a cancer that can be treated easily if it's found early. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
Over to a report that revealed that the number of black bear conflicts with humans in BC has dropped by almost 50% since last year. Brendan Strain from CTV News has more on why that is.
When a bear moves into an urban area looking for a food source, BC conservation officers are often called, and often it doesn't go well for the bears. Last year, though, something historic happened.
Our calls for service were down this last year for 2024.
The agency says there were 10,000 fewer reports of bear conflicts reported to its RAP line. And when it comes to the number of black bears that had to be destroyed in this province at 303, that was the lowest on record.
The numbers are encouraging.
Encouraging because 2023 was the worst year on record with 603 kills. COs say there are a number of reasons for the nearly 50% drop.
It comes down to food availability, essentially.
Last summer's weather produced a great wildberry season. As well, salmon returns were good. There are also other factors at play as well.
Education is a big piece to this puzzle.
Fortunately, it's not a bear problem, it's a people problem.
COs are crediting organizations like Wildwise for the education and advocacy work being done in communities to be more bear aware.
There's really no excuse for the amount of garbage bins that are being left outside on a constant basis.
We know we're helping people who are food insecure access fresh fruit. Now we know we're saving bears. It's super exciting.
As well as groups like the Cowichan Green Community that gathers fruit from backyard trees to be donated throughout the community. That work is also eliminating a potential attractant for bears.
Conservation officer will call us, neighbors will call us, people will call us.
We rely heavily on our municipalities and their bylaw enforcement,
which in many cases have been creating stronger rules when it comes to how residents are allowed to store their garbage and focusing on more education within the community.
We have to be diligent. Complacency kills. And so it's important for us to continue and build upon this momentum that we have.
A new year and a new chance to prove Vancouver Islanders care for bears. Brendan Strain, CTV News, Victoria.
That wraps up this week's edition of Week in Review. Make sure to tune into our regular newscast on Monday at 5, 6, and 11 o'clock here on CFTK-TV. Thank you very much for tuning in and have a good weekend.